Not sure if I'll release this video this year, but today is the 24th. Should make it Christmas Eve. And if I don't upload the video this year, or even if I do and you happen to be watching this later on, I hope everybody had a nice Christmas or holiday if you do not celebrate Christmas. What we're going to do in this video is take a look at something different. Because a lot of my videos of late have been focused on PCs and PC laptops, which I've certainly got plenty of. But I think I've mentioned in the past that the thing that got me started on collecting computers was not the PC. Actually, it was back in the day originally, but the thing that got my second collection started, which is the one that's been ever growing at this point, that was the Macintosh. A couple of different models, which such example is sitting there, although the one that I actually started with is in one of those bags. I really should pull those down and use them more than I do, make sure they still work, etc., etc. But we're not going to focus on any of the vintage stuff. No, we're going to focus on something that's quite a bit more modern. Although with the way the technology moves these days, it almost qualifies as vintage. This is an aluminum unibody MacBook Pro. This particular one is a mid-2010 model. Not sure you can really see any identifiable markings on the bottom because it looks like they've all been pretty much rubbed off. There is a serial number. This came from work. They were cleaning out a research room, and nobody spoke for it, so it ended up in loose hands. So now I have it, and I have it in all its glory here. Uses MagSafe power, which is, I don't know if this is the original power adapter for this particular model or not. I can't remember when they introduced MagSafe, but, I thought that the original one was a bigger connector that's stuck out from the side of the machine, rather than this, which went either towards the back or to the front. It is a reversible connector. Right beside that's the Ethernet. There is, I believe that's a display connection. No, I'm sorry, that's a FireWire 800 beside that. And then beside that is a display connection. Display port, I assume, is what that is. Or maybe it's a proprietary Apple connection. I know you get some breakout adapters. You can get VGA and DVI out of that. Two USB ports beside that. Almost certainly only 2.0. SD card reader. That's a line in. Apple did not generally have microphone jacks. They had line in jacks. And a headphone jack there. And that's all that you get as far as expansion ports. On this side, that's a Kensington lock, that'd be my guess. If not, it's an indicator, but I'm pretty sure it's a Kensington lock. And then the optical drive is beside that. I don't know what this one would have, but we can always power it on and find out. There is a little ding here in the top. That's one thing that these Apple computers tended to get over the years with users. Even if you take good care of them, you end up with little dings, because it's very easy to dent this aluminum. Go ahead and open it. The magnets are very strong on this. If we go ahead and take a look, if I can remember how to do this, you might be able to see that there is a, what Apple would call an eyesight camera, webcam right there in the middle of the screen. There's a, what I guess you consider to be a full-size chiclet-style keyboard. Apple was one of the pioneers of these. I don't really like them, but I guess they're functional. Speaking of things Apple was the pioneer of, this is a click pad. I think there was a term for that. The Magic Touchpad or something is what Apple called it. But you can do all kinds of fancy gestures with this. It's basically just one big giant button. On the Macintosh, it actually works, because the Macintosh only has one button for its user interface. On a PC, which is where they ended up getting ported to, they don't really work, and manufacturers screwed them up even further by making the crappiest ones imaginable. This is not the 13-inch model, so you get two actual proper speakers. This is a 15-inch. And this particular one has the Core i5 CPU in it. So, not top of the line, but certainly not bottom end either, because it's not a 13-inch. Let's go ahead and power it up here. Screen comes on almost immediately, and it starts booting. Those of you who are used to the older PowerPC Macintoshes, you used to hear the chime, and then it would take a couple of seconds before the screen would come on. And of course, this is also a new development with more modern Macintoshes with the loading slider. I actually have a MacBook Air as well that I've had for longer than this, that I have not made a video about yet. I picked up, I think, for like 20 bucks or something. It was low because the battery was missing. Now, I also had to drive and pick it up, and that was no small ordeal. I'm going to go ahead and log in here, and we'll take a look at some other things. Okay. For some reason, my display brightness turned down. Initially, when I got this, the battery was not charging, but now it seems to be. So, I'm not really sure what that's all about. It's actually Christmas Day now. I didn't realize it was after midnight, but anyway. Go ahead and take a look. I still have to run the software updates on this, but I don't think it's going to get any newer version of the Mac OS. I think High Sierra was as high as it went. I don't really like the newer versions of the Mac OS anyway. I think I would prefer like 10.6 or something similar. Anyway, there you can get some more information. 4 gigs of RAM. I think you could put more in this. It's not soldered memory. On the MacBook Air it is. You had the option of 2 or 4 when you bought it, and that was the end of that. But again, I'll talk about that in the actual video I make of it. See here, 1440 by 900, which I suppose these days people scoff at because they've got their giant 2160 by whatever it is. These days, their 4K displays in their 15-inch laptops and even their 13-inch laptops. But what they fail to realize is that you have to enlarge the text so much to actually see it that you might just as well get the smaller display. This is not a Retina display. I think 2010 that would predate that. But you can definitely see the pixels. Again, not that I really care. It doesn't really matter that much. I think this has a mechanical hard drive based on the fact that it says 320 gigs. Again, that's something I might look into upgrading, depending upon how difficult this is to disassemble. I don't want to get too much into it. Here again is the RAM. It contains 2 memory slots, which accept DDR3 1066. It says 1067, but it's 1066. Both of them are populated. And then your usual stuff. It actually gives memory upgrade instructions. I bring that up, it'll bring up the Safari here. See if this actually will bring this page up for me. I do have it connected to the network, at least it should be, as long as the Ethernet connection didn't get disconnected. Okay. 15-inch mid-2010. Yeah. You could upgrade it to 8 gigs. That's the highest that it will go. So it looks like it's removing screws. And then removing the memory. That, I think, is one of the things that they intended to be user replaceable on these. So, anyway. I'll bring up a detailed report here. This should bring me the system profiler. You get a better idea. 2.4 gigahertz i5. I'm not sure if Apple still uses the Gestalt IDs. I'm probably mispronouncing that brutally. You can see it's a dual core. I think it's hyper-threaded, if I remember right. It's an i5 520M, so it's the same CPU that's in my ThinkPad T410. It's got the same usual stuff. ATA. This is not SATA, so nothing should show up in there. Sound-wise, let's see. It doesn't look like... Yeah, it just says Apple. So Bluetooth. This does have Bluetooth. Got the camera. So, I don't know, you can look that up if you'd like. Figure out the specs. I presume it's at least 720p. Might not be, though. Card reader. Doesn't really give much information. Doesn't contain any controller devices. Well, that's demonstrably false, but whatever. Not one that shows up on this. Disk burning. So let's see. This is a DVD. Looks like it will even do dual layer. Yes. So this is a dual layer DVD burner, which is pretty nice to have. Onboard Ethernet. It says Apple BCM. It's not Apple. That's Broadcom. They manufactured it. No fiber channel. There's an 800 megabit per second FireWire port on this. 1394. So this actually has the NVIDIA graphics, which I'm kind of surprised it's not using. Automatic graphics switching, so it's probably because I'm not doing anything. It's a GT330M with 256 megs of VRAM. Probably would have been decent back in the day, but not so much anymore. No hardware RAID device. There's the RAM. Standard stuff. No NVMe. No PCI. No SCSI. Power information. Let's see if it gives us... Alright, yeah. Full charge capacity of 5928. Cycle count 340, condition normal. So I'm not sure why it wasn't charging before, and it's kind of interesting. No printers. No SAS. Here's the SATA. Yeah, that's a Hitachi. Looks like it's only a 5400 RPM hard drive. Not that great, but usable. SPI. Storage. Thunderbolt. And USB. See, usual stuff. We'll go ahead and we'll close out of that. I haven't installed any programs on here. I haven't really done much with this. In fact, I only just reconfigured it today. Got rid of all the old junk that was installed on it. One other thing I find really annoying about these modern versions of the Mac OS is there's no hard drive icon on the desktop. I wish they'd put that there. I don't know why that's not there. Yeah, looks like unfortunately you can't send that to the desktop, which is what I'd like to do, but whatever, I guess. They don't really allow you to do that. So I'll have to do some configuring of the bar down here, install all the necessary programs. It's High Sierra. It should still be pretty well supported by most things. I have no interest in trying to load this with anything higher than that, because it's only got 4 gigabytes of memory, and I may upgrade it to 8 gigs, I may not. I probably won't, especially if it's only going to be running High Sierra. There's no real reason for it. So, I think I'm going to go ahead and leave the video at that. So, thank you for watching, and if you happen to have any comments, feel free to leave them down below.